Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mize, and welcome to the first episode of my series. I know that I've been really iffy on uploading, but all will be explained in a later video, hopefully coming out before this one does. And if it does, I'll link it in the description below. But if it isn't there, then that means that I didn't finish the video before I had to upload this one, or I was just too lazy and forgot to upload the video. Knowing my track record, it's probably the latter. But right now, that's not what we're here for. Right now, we're here to talk about the anime, and today, we'll be talking about the anime, Why the Hell Are You Here, Teacher? Why Are You Here, Teacher is a 12-episode anime that aired during the spring of 2019, between the April 6th and June 24th. When I heard about this anime, I initially thought that this anime was going to follow a single pair of student-teacher going through the motions of a taboo relationship and dealing with their feelings. Though I questioned the premise of the anime, I thought the show was going to be a cute little love story that didn't really do much in terms of innovation or originality, but at least would have executed some more interesting aspects of the show. Oh, was I wrong? Was I so wrong? One of the big things for this show is that it is very sexually driven. Now, I'm not the type to go ahead and write out fan service and nudity in anime. I think that it's perfectly fine to have such things in the show as long as it's not the main driving force of your show, and the amount that you do it can be considered classy or tasteful. The show did none of that. In fact, it does the opposite by going ahead and having some sort of accidental scene where something sexual ends up happening to all the characters. And this happens in every episode. By episode 4, I was already on the train of not being able to fully believe anything that happens in the show to be truly natural. And when the scene does happen, they censor so much of it. There's even times where the entire screen is just completely censored off and all you get are the sounds and the little bit of visuals that come off from the corners. At this point, if I was going to get a good show or sexy visuals, I would have happened by now, but I didn't, and this was going to be a very rough watch. I at least thought there would have been some sort of linear focus and very simple character progression and growth. We don't even go that far because the story doesn't even focus on the first couple for the full 12 episodes. Only for about 3 or 4 of them. The rest of the episodes focus on the other pairing of student-teacher type of relationships through 2 different schools. And none of them have the time to develop either. Their pairings aren't bad ideas, but they literally only explain the surface of what really is going on. But that's a topic for later in the video. One of the things that does bug me about the show is that at a certain point, 3 of the boys, Rin, Ichiro, and Takashi, tell their friend Ko that they're all dating teachers. It's a common knowledge thing that all of them know at this point. However, at the end of the show, they all end up going to the same area to have their lovely moment when they all run into each other and are surprised to learn that each one of them are dating a teacher. Other than Ko, who didn't date a teacher at the time, why are they all surprised? Why are they all freaking out? They all knew that they were dating teachers. It seems like they somehow, I don't know, fucking forgot about the whole thing. A proper shitting ending to a proper shitty show. In a part of the anime, there are 4 pairings of characters that we all follow in the show. Kojima and Ichiro, Mayu and Rin, Hikari, Takashi, Ko, and Chizuru. And the first problem that we come to is, why do all of these pairings have to be in one show? If we were going to intertwine them into each other's lives and the way to progress each relationship forward, it would make sense. It both not only would have made a premise like this very interesting, but would have a way to progress each relationship without having to use each pairing of the characters. But it's done where 3 pairings of the characters have to stop the progression of their story in order to focus on one, dealing with so many stops and goes to the point where at times you even forget that certain characters are even a thing. But of course, asking a show to juggle this many relationships in one time is very hard to do, and even some better romance animes fall in this process. But there's always a simpler solution to this type of problem. Another solution they could have thought of is to build a relationship around each of their own seasons. This type of way gives each relationship more than enough time for each one to grow into their own. Yes, there is the chance that other seasons might not be made due to cancellation or budgeting issues, but personally for me, I would like to explore half of these pairings to get 2 decent relationships than what we currently have right now, which is all 4 of them being rammed into one season and all of them just being bad. And if I'm being honest, a lot of the pairings have at least a decent cute love story. You have Mayu and Rin, as their dynamic is Mayu looking at Rin as a loving soft man, when everyone else sees him as a mean guy. Hikari and Takashi have a long history from when they were children, and Ko and Chizuru, with Ko trying to get Chizuru more out of a show. Kojima and Ichiro, despite being the first main focus, don't actually have much of a story to build. In fact, the both of them are pretty simple in their own relationship, and it's pretty generic as they come. This isn't a bad thing, but you can't build much of the story with what they were given to work with, which isn't much. If you follow my blogs or my videos for some time now, you would know that usually I have a lot to talk about when it comes to music and animation. They're kind of my favorite parts in all of anime, but honestly, there wasn't really anything of note to talk here. It's really mild for the most part. Nothing really stands out. The animation was regular, the OP was regular, the music was regular. Everything about this was regular. I wish I had more, but there's nothing really noteworthy to mention about the music or the animation, and that's kind of disappointing. It's always sad to see when anime doesn't really explore its animation and music to its full extent. But again, this is a very generic show, so I can't really expect much from it. Was this show offensive? No, and I don't think that I would call it atrocious either. I didn't have a bad experience with this anime, I just had a pretty bland one. But honestly, I don't know which one is worse to have. But on top of all its blandness, it fails to really connect on a few things it should have connected with. I don't know how much more I have to say on this anime, it just exists for the most part. And it doesn't even exist in the form of having a middle-of-the-road attributes. So sadly, I'm going to have to give this show a 3 out of 10. Some may see this as a little harsh, but this is me trying to put anime on at least a higher standard of good quality, and this show is far from what I would say is good quality. But of course, I'm entitled to my opinion and you are entitled to yours. So why don't you go ahead and comment down below your opinions in the comment section below. Like this video if you liked it, and of course if you want more of this sexy ass content, you can go ahead and subscribe to my channel with notifications, of course. I know I haven't been posting a lot and I'm sorry for that. Life is at a really weird spot for me with starting a new job and finding a new place to live. Things is kind of crazy, and right now making YouTube videos isn't really that high on my priority. Don't get me wrong, I love you all, but I need money to survive and I need a roof over my head. So right now, of course, I need to figure that stuff out. But of course, I do always blog on occasion on the Amino app in the anime section if you want to follow me there. And of course, thank you to Miia Draws for making my avatars. I meant to make a video like this months ago, but then I changed my mind and I wanted to use this for something else. But I'm doing this format because honestly, it is a lot easier to just talk on a mic while not recording. Of course, if you've heard my podcast, you would understand that. Speaking of which, you should also go ahead and check out my podcast that I have with two of my buddies called Dweebs and Weebs and Watching the World Burn. They're pretty fun podcasts, and I do enjoy making them. So you should go ahead and check that out. Everything that I've said will be in the description below. And of course, I love you. You guys are beautiful. Remember that you are beautiful people, and remember to stay hydrated.